Officers, welcome to chapters, and I hope that all of you are really happy, healthy and preparing well for the upcoming RBI Grade B officer examination. If I am audible and visible to all of you, please give me a thumbs up in the chat box so that we can start with the today's session. So I am waiting for your responses. If I am audible and visible to all of you, please give me a thumbs up in the chat box so that we can start with the today's session. So my dear friends, today is really a very important day because today we are going to cover the 1st to 11th of March 2026. That is the very first week of March, and today is the part 2. Today is the part 2 of this particular session. Yesterday we have covered the part 1 and today is the part 2 of this particular session, right? So very good afternoon to Kashish, Harshal, ABC and all the people who have joined us live today in this session. My dear friends, I believe that you have revised everything that we have covered in the previous session, right? So hello Sumit, I hope that your preparations are really going well for the upcoming RBI Grade B officer examination. See my dear friends, it is very important for us to ensure that we are properly on a regular basis doing the revision and we are also solving the quizzes, right? So yesterday we have covered the PDF, right? The part 1, and today we are covering the part 2. So when the part 2 will be over, after that you are basically allowed to attempt the quizzes that are already been provided to you over the portal. Clear my dear friends? So thank you for giving me the responses, Harshal, ABC, Kashish, Sumit, Kavya, that yes, everything is good to go and we can resume the today's session. So thank you everyone for giving me your responses. Now again I would like to tell you that we divide these current affairs chapters in the two parts. That is phase 1 and 2, that is the first part, and the phase 1, that is the second part. So basically the articles which are directly related to the syllabus mentioned in the topic, right, they are important for both phase 1 and phase 2, like reports, schemes, government initiatives, programs, RBI notifications, right, and even the agriculture related current affair articles for the NABARD examination, right? So don't worry guys, the people who are preparing for NABARD, these sessions are also helpful for you as well. Now the articles which are not at all related to the syllabus of the RBI, like sports, defense awards, exercises, appointments, books and authors. So basically these are important only for the phase 1 examination and you are not required to cover them for the phase 2 as well. So that is why we have bifurcated them in the two sections, phase 1 and 2, and then we are having the phase 1. Clear to everyone? So yesterday my dear friends, we were done with the 25 articles, right, and today we are going to start with the article number 26, that is the Jal Mahotsav 2026. I believe that all the 25 articles that we have covered yesterday, these are quite clear to everyone and nobody is having any kind of doubt in that. So now let's start with the today's session with the first article, that is Jal Mahotsav 2026. So the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation under the Ministry of Jal Shakti will organize Jal Mahotsav 2026 from 8th March to 22nd of March as a nationwide campaign. Clear my dear friends? So basically it will be conducted from 8th to 22nd of March. Now guys, 8th March is being celebrated every year as a International Women's Day, right? And when it comes to the 22nd March, it is celebrated as World Water Day. So between these 2 days, we will be having this Jal Mahotsav 2026. So it will be strengthening the Jan Bhagidari and community ownership in the rural drinking water management under the Jal Jeevan Mission. So even in the morning itself we discussed about the Jal Jeevan Mission, and also in the month of April so many times we discussed Jal Jeevan Mission. That is a mission which was been launched by the government of India in order to ensure and provide tap water connections to all the rural households in our country, right? And that is why we came up with the Jal Jeevan Mission. Now under the Jal Jeevan Mission only we are coming up with the Jal Mahotsav 2026. The campaign will be running from 8th March to 22nd of March, and Jal Mahotsav will be connecting the policy dialogue with the village level action and involve Gram Panchayats, village water sanitation committees, self-help groups, youth volunteers, development partners, academic institutions and the local communities. So my dear friends, I already told you that it is not just only the responsibility of the parliament, right, that whether the water is reaching to your house and to your taps or not. Basically, additionally, it is also the responsibility of the community, the different stakeholders, different authorities which are responsible for the proper supply of water. And that's why this Jal Mahotsav is basically connecting all these stakeholders which are the part of the policy dialogue. For example, Gram Panchayats, village water and sanitation committees, self-help groups, youth volunteers, development partners, right? And the National Jal Mahotsav event will be taking place on 11th of March 2026. So now, my dear friends, basically we have come up with this Jal Mahotsav in order to promote public awareness and sensitivity towards the water conservation. We need to aware the people that, see, we are required to save water, right? We are required to save water. We need to promote the water conservation activities in our society, because water, when it comes to water, we say jal hi जीवन है, right? So basically जीवन को बचाना है तो water को भी बचाना होगा. Jal Utsav is envisioned at the 3 levels. Now Jal Utsav is being conducted at 3 levels. One is the Jal Mahotsav at national level. So at the national level, the ministries and the missions will be coordinating action on the water, sanitation, health and livelihood at a state, district and village institutions. So here basically the ministries and the missions will be coordinating, right? Now when it comes to the Jal, Rajya Jal Utsav or the Nadi Utsav, there basically we are encouraging the community engagement. See, in the national level wala part, what is happening? We are having the ministries, right? But in the Rajya Jal Utsav, that is at the state level, we will be encouraging community engagement and recognize rivers as the sources of life and livelihoods. Then in the Lok Jal Utsav, we are basically running the community-led initiatives to embed water stewardship in the local traditions. We want to induce the water conservation in the local tradition, in the cultural practices, so that the water conservation is not an additional activity, but we are basically following it as a part of the traditional or the cultural practice, right? So that's where we have come up with these 3 levels of the Jal Utsav. One is the national, then Rajya level and the Lok or the village or panchayat level. So these are the 3 levels for the Jal Utsav. Now after that we are having a Jal Arpan Divas. So it symbolizes the handover of drinking water assets to the Gram Panchayats to strengthen community ownership of the rural drinking water systems under the Jal Jeevan Mission. Guys, you all know that earlier we already covered that. See, it's not the only the responsibility of the parliament, right? Let's take an example that they have created a plan, they have ensured that yes, every household is having a pipeline. But if the people who are having the taps in their and the pipeline of the water in their homes, and they are not basically communicating that there is a leakage in the water supply, so who is going to correct it? We won't be able to correct it. That is why we have to ensure that yes, we are basically engaging all the stakeholders, from the generator to the user. That means from the parliament to the authorities to the societies to the committees and to the community as well, right? And the end user as well. So that's how we are going to cover this. Clear, everyone? So now please quickly tell me in the chat box, the Jal Mahotsav will be celebrated, will be conducted, right? What is the date? From which date to which date? What is the duration? 8th March to 22nd March. What is the 8th March? International Women's Day. 22nd March, World Water Day. World Water Day. Absolutely right. Clear to everyone? Clear, everyone? Okay. So now please tell me under which scheme we are conducting this Mahotsav. Under which scheme? It is Jal Jeevan Mission. Now recently we have basically discussed that the Jal Jeevan Mission has been extended with the 2.0, right? Can anybody tell me that what is the timeline for the Jal Jeevan Mission 2.0? So basically the timeline has been extended to December 2028. Absolutely right. December 2028 is the right answer. Well done. Let's move on to the next news article. NHE conducts NHCX hackathon under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. So National Health Authority organized the NHCX hackathon under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission to promote innovation around the National Health Claims Exchange. So my dear friends, around the National Health Claim Exchange, we are promoting the innovation. Now let me tell you that in our country, there are so many times you see that the claims for the health insurances, they are not digital in nature. People are basically going there, submitting the physical copies, getting them signed, approved, and then only they are able to claim the money, right? So basically National Health Authority wants that why not we are making it digital properly. So we need to identify the digital solutions to make it completely digital and cashless, right? And that is why it has organized the NHCX hackathon. NHCX hackathon means National Health Claim Exchange hackathon. So basically it is inviting the innovators, it is inviting the scientists, it is inviting the curious people to come and solve this problem. Please bring us a solution that how exactly we can make it more seamless, transparent and paperless health insurance claims processing across India. Clear to everyone? That is the reason that why this particular hackathon has been launched. So it invited participants to develop solutions addressing operational challenges in health insurance claims, processing and improving interoperability across the healthcare ecosystem. Now the NHCX, National Health Claim Exchange, is one of the three gateways under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, designed to simplify and standardize health insurance claims processing across the country. So my dear friends, please quickly tell me the chat box, what is the name of that organization which has organized the NHCX hackathon? So that is National Health Authority. Under which scheme it has been done? Under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission it has been done. Clear everyone? Clear to all? So clear to all? Okay. So now let's try to answer the question from the Drishyam round, right? So here I am having the Drishyam PDF. Let me switch on the annotations here for all of you. Okay. So we are on the 26th, 27th article, right? So here is it. So please quickly tell me here, the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, DDWS dash will organize the Jal Mahotsav under which ministry? Ministry of Jal Shakti. Clear? Ministry of Jal Shakti. What is the duration? 8th March to 22nd March. Absolutely right. Under which scheme we are conducting it? We are conducting it under the Jal Jeevan Mission. The campaign will run from International Women's Day, that is on 8th March, to World Water Day, that is on 22nd March. Absolutely right. Now dash is the Divas, symbolize the handover of drinking water. That is the Jal Arpan Divas. When we are handing over the drinking water assets to the Gram Panchayat so that they can strengthen the community ownership of rural drinking water systems. Clear everyone? Now please tell me the right answer to the next question. The National Health Authority conducts NHCX hackathon under which scheme? Under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. We want to promote innovation around the National Health Exchange, Claim Exchange. Now dash is one of the three gateways under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, which has been designed to simplify and standardize the health insurance claims processing across the country. So what exactly is the right answer here? It is National Health Claim Exchange. NHCX is one of the three gateways under the ABDM. Absolutely right, this is the right answer. Clear everyone? Everybody is able to understand this article? Okay guys, so we are done with the two articles. Now quickly let's move on to the next article. So are you guys finding the pace fine, my dear friends, or we are going slow or fast? Please tell me in the chat box. So today quickly we have covered the two articles, right? Can you please tell me whether the pace is fine of the session? Whether the pace of the session is fine or not? Fine for everyone? Okay, I can say. Okay, so everybody is saying fine. Upasna is saying as always slow. Okay. But yes, we will be going with the majority again, that yes, we will be going with all the people. So let's move ahead. DGFT extends export obligation period. Export obligation period. So my dear friends, let me tell you here that Government of India provides always a kind of opportunity to the exporters. Now what kind of opportunity is there? Basically it says that okay, the exporters can import duty-free articles, right? Under a particular part of the scheme, the exporters can basically import the duty-free articles, but provided they have to ensure that they have to export the value, the certain goods of the similar value in a given timeline, right? And if they are not able to do that, so basically they should be attracting some penalty, because they have used those VIP services, but they are not able to match up with that. But here government says that don't worry, we are providing you relaxation, right? Let's try to understand with the help of another example. Let's take an example that I have basically provided a scholarship. I have given a scholarship to one of the student, right? But the condition is that you have to complete the assignment. You have to complete the assignment by 12th of May. But you know what was happened? So due to the flood or any natural calamity, there was a internet connection lost in the entire area or the entire state of that particular student, and the student was not able to submit the assignment on time. So basically he was basically required to take the penalty that time, because he has basically taken the scholarship. But we say that okay, don't worry about it, we are not penalizing you for anything, we are not cancelling your scholarship, don't worry, we are extending the deadline. So now you can submit the assignment after 1 week, so that you can also get some good amount of time to complete the assignment. Clear? Now my dear friends, similar is the case with the exporters. Why? Because you must have seen that during this war-like situation, there was a problem in the logistic corridors, right? The cargo shipments, they were left stranded, right? So basically, in order to considering this particular situation, Government of India has come up with this particular initiative where they're providing relaxation to the exporters. So the Directorate General of Foreign Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry has extended the export obligation period up to 31st August 2026 for certain export promotion schemes. What is the export obligation? That means when, as a part of this facility, the exporters were able to import the articles in a duty-free manner, right? And they were required to export some articles of the particular value at a particular time, but they were not able to do that. But considering the situation, right, considering the geopolitical situation, Government of India decided that okay, don't worry, we are extending the period up to 31st August 2026. The automatic extension applies to advance authorizations and the export promotion capital goods authorizations, where EU period is expiring between 1 March 2026 and 31st March 2026. तो 1st March 2026 से 31st May 26 के बीच के पीरियड के अंदर the people, the exporters who were not able to export the said articles that they have committed, so they can now export the articles till 31st August 2026. The extension will be granted automatically and exporters are not required to submit any application or pay any composition fee to avail the benefit. Right? The relaxation applies to advance authorization for annual requirement, special advance authorization and the EPCG authorizations. And why we have done this? In view of the geopolitical developments affecting the global shipping routes, logistic corridors, international supply chains which have impacted the exporter. That is why this decision has been taken. Clear everyone? What is the name of authority which has taken this initiative? That is Directorate General of Foreign Trade. What is the timeline to which it has been extended? 31st August 2026. They have extended what export obligation has been extended. Clear everyone? So the extension is in addition to the existing provisions under the Foreign Trade Policy and the Handbook of Procedures that allow export obligation extension on the payment of prescribed composition fees. Regional authorities of the DGFT will compliance with the export obligation requirements during the issuance of export obligation discharge certificate, closure or the regularization of the authorization. So that's all we need to cover from here. Clear? So we are done with all the important points. Now let's try to answer this question. So the DGFT has extended the export obligation period up to which date? What is the date? 31st August 2026. Absolutely right. The extension will be granted automatically and exporters are dashed to avail the benefit. So basically, are they required to pay any fees or the composition fees? No, they are not required. They are not required to pay any kind of composition fee, or they are not required to again refill the application. So that's all we need to understand here from this news article. Clear? Now let's move on to the next part. Let's take an example that right now there are 20 students are there in the class. Let's take an example, right? And I told you that please give me the analysis of your performance. I am just saying that give me analysis of your performance. So there are some students who basically what they have done is that they have just given me the final score. That's it. This is our score. Some people shared with me the percentile that they have attained in the mock test. Some people basically shared with me the individual scores in the 4 sections of the examination. Some people just told me that sir, this is the percentile that they have achieved in the 4 sections of this. So basically when I will be looking on these analysis, I won't be able to get much of the details that okay, what exactly is the performance, right? because everybody is using the different kind of format. So basically I won't be able to compare all of you together because the data is not presented in a similar manner. And let me tell you, my dear friends, now what happens is that I give you a particular format. I am giving you a format that everybody will be sharing their individual scores in the individual sections. You will be sharing with me the composite score also, as well as the percentile also, right? And along with the difficulty level of the paper that you have attempted. So then only I will be able to compare all of you together. Clear, everyone? So similarly, my dear friends, you know that when the companies are required to create their financial statements, so earlier what was happening is the insurance companies were basically using the different formats for creating their financial statements, but we were not able to compare their performances at the national level and the international level. So in order to align their financial reporting and how they are creating their financial statements, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India has proposed India Accounting Standards Based Financial Reporting for the insurers from 1st of April 2026. That from now onwards, all of you are requested to ensure that yes, you are paying, that you will be creating your financial statements according to the Indian accounting standards only. Indian accounting standards kya hai? They are accounting rules which are used by companies to prepare their financial statements. So when everybody will be using the same format, then we will be able to compare their performances. We will be able to align and compare them with the international organizations as well, right? Because Indian accounting standards are basically also aligned with the global accounting standards. Clear, my dear friends? So IRDAI has issued an exposure draft on amendments to the ERDAI Actuarial Finance and Investment Functions of the Insurers Regulations 2026. The simple reason is simple. We want to improve transparency, consistency and comparability in the financial reporting and align with the globally accepted standards while protecting the policy holders. Now, Indian accounting standards are accounting rules used by companies to prepare financial statements. Now, from which date they have to apply these directions? That is from 1st of April 2026. Every insurer has to basically ensure that the financial reporting that they are doing is according to the Indian accounting standards only. The proposal applies to all categories of insurers. सभी पे है, life insurance, general insurance, health insurance, reinsurance. For all these insurers, we have one format of the financial reporting, creating the financial statement, that is the Indian accounting standards. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Okay, let's move on to the next news article. The SEBI has deployed AI tool Sudarshan and removes the misleading influencer content. So my dear friends, let us take an example again. Let's take an example that you go to the hospital, right? Let's take an example that there is some person X who is facing the problem and he goes to the hospital. So the doctor will be basically assessing the person properly. He will be asking that what are the symptoms. He will be seeing that what exactly are the indications his body is showing, and then only he will be prescribing the medicines, right? But let's take an example that there is a person who is not having any professional degree, but he is giving the advices to the people that okay, you are having this problem, take this X medicine. You are having this problem, take Y medicine. You are having this problem, take Z medicine. So please tell me, will you really like this particular doctor who is having not any kind of professional degree and is just prescribing the medicine to the people just blindly, right? Just blindly. So can anybody tell me? So my dear friends, will you be really liking this particular doctor? Answer is no. Let me tell you that similarly what was happening is that there was recently what was happening. See, there are some influencers. Influencers are basically the financial influencers, the people who are present on the YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, right? And they are telling the people that okay, you can invest in the XYZ stocks and you will be getting heavy returns. You can be investing in the ABC stocks and you will be getting very heavy returns by investing the money, right? Although these people are not having any kind of certification, not any kind of degree, they are not associated with the SEBI, right? They are nothing. They are just a little bit more aware, right? That is basically the part that they are aware. But will you really like this way? Answer is no. Because due to these people, what is happening is that there are so many people, who are losing their money because they are investing into these stocks after the advices of these people. And SEBI identified it. So SEBI just thought that okay, if this is the thing which is happening, we have to take some strict action against such kind of people, right? So basically SEBI has removed 1.2 lakh misleading social media posts by unregistered financial influencers. So SEBI says that okay, if you want to influence the people, if you want to provide these kind of services, you have to ensure that you are doing some certifications. You have to get yourself registered. You have to get yourself registered with the SEBI. Only then you can do this. So that is why in order to remove this kind of misleading content from the social media, SEBI has deployed a weapon, right, to kill all such kind of social media posts. What is the name of that weapon? That is Sudarshan, right? So AI tool named Sudarshan to track violations in the digital space. Clear, my dear friends? So Krishna ji was having Sudarshan Chakra, right? So SEBI is now using that Sudarshan to basically remove all that misleading social media posts, so that there is not such kind of misleading social posts which are basically influencing the people in a bad manner and they are losing the money. So Sudarshan is basically an AI powered market surveillance system to detect fraudsters posing as a registered financial analyst and investment advisors on the social media. So what SEBI is allowing, that SEBI says that okay, if there is a person now who basically tells that okay, what are mutual funds, what are the stocks, right? If anybody is just awareing the people that what are mutual funds, basically he's telling the static details, the conceptual clarity about the mutual funds on the videos, then that is completely okay with the SEBI. But you cannot advise the people that yes, you can purchase these much of stocks, you can invest in those stocks. Clear, everyone? So the tool monitors multilingual content across the audio, video and other formats to identify regular breaches. SEBI regulations mandate that only registered entities can provide investment advices, and the regulator distinguishes between financial education, which is allowed, that I already told you, and misleading investment advices, that is action taken for the violations. Clear, everyone? Clear to everyone? So what is the name of that AI tool launched by SEBI and removes misleading influencer content? That is the Sudarshan tool. Absolutely right. Clear to everyone? Let's move ahead. So please give me the right answer. So RBI has proposed India AS based financial reporting for insurers from 1st April 2026. RBI has proposed implementation of the Indian accounting standards for all insurers from 1st April 2026. The proposal applies to all types of insurers, general insurers, health insurers, life insurers, reinsurers, to everyone. It is basically applied. Now please tell me the tool which has been launched by SEBI to remove misleading influencer content, that is Sudarshan. Sudarshan is the right answer. Sudarshan is an artificial intelligence system tool to detect fraudsters posing as registered financial analysts. SEBI regulations mandate that only the registered entities can provide investment advices to the people. Clear to everyone? So I can see in the chat box ABC, Harshal, Material, Share, Upasna, Kashish, Kavya, Sejagu, Material, Share, all the people have given me the right answer. Well done, everyone. Well done. Now let's move on to the next part. Ensuring and strengthening access to the justice for all women and girls. Ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls. See, my dear friends, let's take an example that there is a school, right? There is a school and it says that boys and girls are equal for us. Boys and girls are equal for us. But in the rule book of the school, it is not providing equal rights and equal opportunities to the girls as compared to the boys. So basically boys are having more opportunities, more stringent rules, more easy rules for the boys are there as compared to the girls. So basically this is a kind of hypocrisy here, right? Let me tell you that this is also the case. Right now I just gave you the example of a school. Now implicate this example to the entire world, which is having so many countries which are having such kind of easy rules for boys but not for the girls. Boys are more protected in nature, girls are not that protected. Boys are more safe in nature, girls are not that much safe. That is why this particular report has been launched to identify such kind of things. And what is the name of the report? Ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls has been released. So who has released this report? United Nations Secretary General. You can see here on this balance, right? Everybody has equal rights, both the women and the men, right? So UN Women stated that no country has achieved full legal equality for the women. Still guys, we are in the 21st century and you can see that there is no legal equality for the women and girls. There is not a single country which is having this kind of equality. Women only have 64% of the legal rights of the men. If the men are enjoying 100% rights, women are having only 64% of the legal rights. 54% of the countries, rape is not legally defined based on the consent. In nearly 3/4, that means 75% of the countries, girls can still be legally forced into the marriage. So this is the reality of the 21st century, right? In 54% of the countries, rape is not at all legally defined based on the consent, and 75% of the countries, girls can still be legally forced into the marriage. That means they can not say no to marriage, they can be legally forced. So this is the inequality which is there among the boys and girls, among the men and women. In 44% of the countries, laws do not mandate equal pay for the work of equal value. That means men are getting more, men are paid more as compared to the women. Around 87% of the countries have domestic violence laws, and over 40 countries have strengthened constitutional protections for women in the past decade. Cases of sexual violence have increased by 87% in the past 2 years. So in the past 2 years, the cases of sexual violence has increased by 87%. So my dear friends, a very, very important report. United Nations Secretary General has basically released a report titled Ensuring and Strengthening Access to Justice for All, Women and Girls, right? UN Women stated that no countries have achieved a fully legal equality. What percentage of the legal rights the women are having as compared to the men? 64%. What percentage of countries are there in which girls can still legally force into the marriage? That is 75%. And what percentage of the countries rape is not legally defined based on consent? That is 54%. What percentage of the countries have domestic violence laws? Only 87% of the countries are having. Clear everyone? Now let's move on to the renewable energy integration. So the government of India is accelerating renewable energy integration via development of green energy corridors and expansion of the interstate transmission systems. So basically renewable energy is being integrated. How we are doing that? By the development of green energy corridor. We are creating green energy corridors. We are expanding the interstate transmission systems. So basically we have integrated over 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. We have integrated over 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. Over 600 gigawatts by 2032. Under the National Electricity Plan, transmission network projected to expand to 6.48 lakh circuit kilometers with transformation capacity of 2345 GVA by 2031-32. Inter-regional transmission capacity, we are planning to increase from 120 gigawatt in January 2026 to 168 gigawatt by 2032. See guys, we are required to little bit go through these numbers here. Government of India is doing this non-fossil fuel capacity. By 2030, what is the number we are achieving? 500 gigawatt, and by 2032 600 gigawatts. Under the National Electricity Plan, the transmission network will be expanded to how much circuit kilometers? 6.48 lakh circuit kilometers, right? Clear to everyone? And under the inter-regional transmission capacity, we want to increase from 120 gigawatt to what? 168 gigawatt by 2032. Clear everyone? So this data is not that much important from the examination point of view, right? Now let's try to answer the questions. So please tell me here quickly the right answer in the chat box. UN Women stated that how many countries has achieved full legal equality for women and girls? How many countries are there? No country. No country is the right answer. Let me tell you, my dear friends, that there was such kind of a question in the previous year also, in the phase 1 examination of RBI, where we have seen the question was like, in the global gender gap report, In the global gender gap report, how many countries have achieved the gender parity, right? And they mentioned the name of the some countries, and they also said that none of the above. Basically, the people there marked the name of the country Iceland as the right answer because it topped the global gender gap report, but the answer was again no country. Similarly, this kind of question can be asked from this report also. So please ensure that you are retaining this information from examination point of view. Now, my dear friends, globally women have a only dash percentage of the legal rights of women. How many? What percentage? 64%. Absolutely right. What percentage of countries rape is not legally defined? It was around 57% of the countries or 54% of the countries where the rape is not legally defined. What percentage of the countries laws do not mandate equal pay for work of equal value? Can anybody tell me the right answer? Please tell me the right answer. What is the percentage of the countries that laws do not mandate equal pay for work? That do not mandate equal pay for work? That is 87%. Absolutely right. Let's move on to the next news article. So the next news article is on the Ministry of MSME promotes energy efficiency and green practices in MSME. So guys, you all know that we are moving towards the sustainable development, right? And Government of India is also, encouraging the MSMEs to basically adopt the green practices, reduce the wastage, have efficient systems which are using the electricity efficient manner, right? Okay, so there is a correction, my dear friends. See guys, in the one of the question in this particular part, 44% of the countries laws do not mandate equal work. It was not 87%, it was 44%. Right? Yes, 87% was for the domestic violence law. Absolutely right. Thank you, Harshal, Ramsai and ABC for identifying this mistake. Okay, now let's move on to the next part. So the Ministry of MSME is facilitating access to the technical expertise and providing hand-holding support to energy-saving projects and green transition. See how the Ministry of MSME is helping the MSMEs. So basically the government is saying that, hey MSME, right? Hey MSME, I want you to adopt the green practices. So basically how I can encourage you to do that? Let's take an example that there is a machine which recycles the materials and you want to purchase it, right? I will be giving you some kind of subsidy on that machine. If you will be taking a loan and this loan is basically for the green energy practices, right? So I will be giving you some interest subvention on that particular loan. So that's how government is basically helping these MSMEs. So Ministry of MSME say that the key initiatives include MSME sustainable, zero effect, zero defect, MSME competitive lean scheme under the MSME champion scheme, MSE gift scheme is there, MSE spice scheme is there, right? So which are the different initiatives taken by the government. So the financial support includes up to rupees 2 lakh per unit for consultancy and for the zero effect, zero defect certified units and 3 lakh for the technology upgradation. That means if there is an MSME X and it wants to basically need some consultancy help in order to ensure that it is basically adopting the green energy practices. So basically Government of India will be providing rupees 2 lakh per unit for the consultancy services, right? You arrange the consultant, I will be paying you rupees 2 lakh. Up to 2 lakh I will be giving you for the consultancy. And for the technology upgradation, if you want to upgrade the technology, right? Let's take an example that there was a MSME which was using the old machines which were basically, using more and more fuel, right? So basically government said that, okay, if you want to upgrade the technology, we are giving you 3 lakh rupees for that. So 2 lakh is for the consultancy, 3 lakh is for the technology upgradation. Clear everyone? Now moving ahead to the next scheme, that is the MSc gift scheme, that is green investment and financing scheme. So it provides affordable finance with 2% interest subvention for adopting the green and energy efficient technologies. So again, if there is any MSc who want to take loan, let's take an example, it wants to take a machine which was costing rupees 10 lakh rupees, right? And the MSc has taken a loan on a 10% rate of interest. So government says that don't worry, 2% I will be taking care. So you are only required to bear 8% of the interest rate. Getting it? Now come to the next scheme, that is the MSc Spice scheme. So there basically the company basically wanted to adopt a circular economy practice. I already told you today the circular economy example. Let me again tell you that. So let's take an example in the usual economy. What happens is that you use a plastic or a disposable cup. You basically drink water from that cup and you dispose that cup, right? After that, in the circular economy, what exactly we do is that, let's take an example, I am having this glass cup, right? So what I do is that I basically use this glass, I drink the water, I wash it and I reuse it again. So basically what happens is that this is the example of circular economy where we are using the material or the product again and again. Clear? So Sunil Sihag, please don't spam. Right? Don't spam. I will be taking your query only after the session. So do not disturb the decorum of the class. Right? I will be helping you out. Don't worry about it. Okay? But please do not spam. You are disturbing the decorum of the class and you are basically impacting the other students. Don't do this. I will be taking your query. We can have a call over your query, right? Don't worry about it. Right now, please focus on the session only. So now here, let's move on to the next part, that is the Aditi scheme, guys. That is the assistance in deploying energy efficient technologies in industrial establishments. Let's take an example that we are sending a doctor to a factory. We are sending a doctor to a factory and this doctor is basically identifying that where exactly we are facing the energy losses, where exactly we are not having efficient usage of the resources, not efficient usage of the fuel. So it will be giving its recommendations and on the basis of that you can deploy the energy efficient technologies in that particular establishment. Clear? Clear everyone? So this Aditi scheme stands for assistance in deploying energy efficient technologies in the industrial establishments. It is implemented by Bureau of Energy Efficiency under the Ministry of Power. It provides 3 to 5% of the interest subvention and technical support such as energy audits and reports. It covers 14 energy intensive sectors across a 60 industrial clusters. So that's how we are basically focusing as a part of the Aditi scheme. Clear everyone? So it is the implemented by which organization? Bureau of Energy Efficiency under the Ministry of Power. Can anybody tell me how many years recently Bureau of Energy Efficiency has completed? How many years of existence Bureau of Energy Efficiency is completed? That is 25 years because it has celebrated its 25th foundation year this year. We will be covering that news article in the upcoming timeline. Don't worry about it. So that's all from the Aditi scheme. It provides 3 to 5% interest subvention and technical support. That's all from here. Now let's move on to the next part. So the cabinet has approved changes in the FDI policy, right? So my dear friends, what is the FDI? It is the foreign direct investment. So basically here what happens is that there is a person X who is investing in a company Y which is in the foreign country, right? There is a person X who is living in country A and he is investing in the company Y which is in the country B, and basically is also getting the control of that particular company along with the investment, and he is having the control over the daily management activities of that particular company. So that is the part of the FDI, foreign direct investment, right? So basically now government has approved the changes in the FDI policy related to the investments from countries sharing the land borders with India. So what happens, my dear friends, that see, let's take an example that there is a company of Singapore. There is a company of Singapore, right, which is investing in a company Y which is in India. The company Y is in India. Now the government wants to know that what is the name, who is that person who is behind the Singapore company, who is behind this Singapore company. If that person, let's take an example, that person is from the Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is sharing land border with India, right? Bangladesh is sharing land border with India. So Bangladesh, the person is from the Bangladesh. So in that particular role, what is there? That basically government was earlier doing a lot of scrutiny before the company can get the investment from that person, because that particular person from the Bangladesh is the beneficial owner, because he is having the control in that Singapore company. He is the official owner of the company in the Singapore, and he is investing in the company Y in India. So this happens a lot of time, right? I hope that this is clear to everyone. So basically now government says that if that person, the beneficial owner, is from Bangladesh and he is investing in the company Y, right now we are providing you some relaxation. Let's take an example, the investment is less than the 10%, right? Or it basically involves no control. So basically you can invest under the automatic route. Under the automatic route, what happens? There is no approval required from the government of India. Clear? But when the investment is more than the 10% and it involves a control as well, at that point of time it will not be coming under the automatic route. Clear everyone? Let's now jump into the article and see what are the key details here. So the cabinet approves the changes in FDI policy. The objective is to provide clarity, improve ease of doing business and enable faster approvals. So the incorporation of the definition and criteria of determination of beneficial owner is there. Now who is the beneficial owner? So as per the Prevention of Money Laundering Rule 2005, beneficial owner is the person or entity that ultimately owns or controls an investment, even if the investment is made through another company or structure. So basically the person was from Bangladesh, but the company is operating in Singapore, right? And that company from Singapore is investing in the money here. So many times what happens is that there are some terrorism financiers who are financing such kind of, doing the financing in such manner, and all this money basically goes to the terrorists, right? So that's how basically government of India wants to ensure that there is no such terror financing is taking place. And that is why earlier the lot of scrutiny was there, but right now just a little bit relaxation we are providing, but under the stricter rules again. So the investment with up to 10% non-controlling beneficial ownership from such countries, they allow under the automatic route. But there will be some sectoral limits and mandatory reporting to the DPIIT. They have to report to the DPIIT, right? Although no approval is required, but they have to report to DPIIT for the same. And if an investor from a land bordering country has up to 10% non-controlling beneficial ownership, the investment can go through the automatic route. But the investment beyond this limit or with a controlling stake will continue to require government approval. For that, it will be requiring the approval from the government of India. Otherwise, it cannot be approved. Clear everyone? So the expedited clearance of the investments in the specific sectors include, in the specified manufacturing sectors, proposals will be processed within 60 days. My dear friends, see, there are some sectors which really require good amount of financing and the external help, and that is why in such kind of sectors, for example, electronic capital goods, electronic components, polysilicon, ingot wafers, so there basically government says that if you are basically investing the money, then we will be giving the approval within 60 days. So this is the timeline. What is the timeline? It should be processed within how many days? 60 days. The committee of secretary under the cabinet secretary can revise the list of such sectors. The condition is that majority ownership and the control of investee entity must always remain with the resident Indian citizens or Indian owned entities. But we have to ensure one condition here. What is that condition? So majority of the ownership here, that must reside with the resident of the Indian citizens only. That's it. Only then we will be allowing the 60 days timeline. Understood? So what will be the impact of that? There will be increased FDI inflow in our country. Right, we will be getting support to the startups and the deep tech startups. Now what is the FDI? We have already discussed. Let me again just read it for all of you. It means the investment made by a person or a company from one country into a business located in another country. I told you, person living in country A is investing in company Y, which is in country B. That's it. It usually involves long-term interest and the control in the foreign company. Two main routes are automatic route, where no prior government approval is required, and the government route is where approval is required. Clear everyone? We are done with all the details here. We are done with all the details here from the examination point of view. Right? So let's try to answer this question. Let's be quick. Let's try to answer these questions. The Ministry of MSME is facilitating access to technical expertise and providing hand-holding support. So under the financial support, includes what amount per unit for consultancy for zero effect, zero defect certified units, that is 2 lakh per unit. and for the technology upgradation 3 lakh per unit is there. MSc gift scheme के अंदर the affordable finance will be in having what percentage of the interest subvention? 2% of the interest subvention. And what will be the percentage of the capital subsidy for adopting circular economy practices? That is 25% of the capital subsidy. Absolutely right. Now Aditi scheme, assistance in deploying energy efficient technology in industrial establishments. It is implemented under the Bureau of Energy Efficiency under which ministry? Ministry of Power. Absolutely right. Provides what percentage of interest subvention and technical support? Please tell me here what is the right answer. The interest subvention and technical support, it will be 3 to 5%. Absolutely right. So well done everyone to give me the right answer here. Now moving on to the next part. The cabinet approves changes in the FDI policy. So the incorporation and the definition and criteria for determination of BO. What is the BO? Beneficiary owner. That is the right answer. Investments with up to -% non-controlling beneficial ownership from such countries allowed under automatic route. What is that percentage? 10%. Here again 10% will be the right answer. Now what is the number of days within which the proposal should be processed in case of specified manufacturing sectors like ingot wafer, polysilicon, capital goods, electronic components? It will be within 60 days. That is the right answer. 60 days is the right answer. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Let's move on to the next article. So the second advanced estimates of the agricultural production for 25-26 has been released. My dear friends, second advanced estimates of agricultural production for the year 25-26 has been released, right? So it basically tells us that what was the production of the food grains in our country in both the Rabi and the Kharif seasons. Okay, so basically the second advanced estimates for Kharif and Rabi crops based on the state data, remote sensing, crop cutting experiments and other inputs have been facilitated by the second advanced estimates. And the total food production for the Kharif was 1741.44 lakh metric tons, and for the Rabi it was 1745. So for the Rabi it is 1745. For the Kharif 1741. Clear everyone? Clear? So my dear friends, when it comes to the rice production, the total rice production in the Kharif season was 1239.28 LMT and in the Rabi season it was 167.0 LMT. Clear? So let me tell you my dear friend that last year in the phase 1 of the RBI Grade B officer exam, there were 2 to 3 questions from the agriculture current affairs and from the agriculture reports as well. And that is the reason that we are discussing this article. But let me be very clear here, we are not required to cover all the details. Let me tell you are not required to cover the Nutri, maize, Shri Anna and all other crops, no. Just remember that what is the total food production in the Kharif 1741 and what is the total production in the Rabi, that is 1745. Clear to everyone? So in the rice production, the Kharif was 1239.28 and for the Rabi it was 167.2. Clear everyone? Clear? Okay, just two values are there, 1741, 1745. That's it. Let's move on to the next news article. Niti Aayog has released the second edition of the Fiscal Health Index 2026. So my dear friends, we always say, yes, ABC for the NABARD aspirants, the other data is important, but why we are not covering the other data for now for the NABARD aspirants? Any person who know the answer to that question? The reason behind that is, the data is basically of the second advanced estimates. By the time NABARD examination will come, we will be having the updated values. So that is why we are not covering it for the NABARD exam for now. Clear? For the knowledge purposes, you can definitely see the trend, but you are not required to cover it. You are not required to retain it, because from the examination point of view, we are only required to cover the latest data from examination point of view. Clear? Absolutely right. And why we are covering for the month of for the RBI examination? Because before the RBI examination, there is very less probability that these data will be updated, because they are the latest data of the March 2026. Clear everyone? Now let's move on to the Niti Aayog release the second edition of the Fiscal Health Index. So guys, when we talk about a person, like that how much financially healthy that person is, so what exactly we see? That what amount of money the person is having in his pocket, how much loan he has taken, what is the earning that he is having per month, what is his expenditure, how is he managing his finances. All these things we consider when we see that okay, how much financially healthy that person is, right? And if there is a person, my dear friend, let's take an example, there is your friend who is not financially healthy and he just come to you and he asks you that okay, please give me the loan of 20 lakh rupees. I am having a very good idea, superb idea for launching a business. For launching a business, right? So will you give that loan to that person? Answer is no, because he is not financially healthy. He is not having good repaying capability, right? So that's how, my dear friends, when there are states in our country who basically want to take the welfare steps for the welfare of the people living in the state. We have to ensure that how much financially healthy these states are, and to identify the financial health of the states, we are having the fiscal health index, which has been launched by Niti Aayog. Clear everyone? So Niti Aayog has released the second annual edition of the Fiscal Health Index 26 in the New Delhi. It expands coverage to include 10 northeastern and the Himalayan states, in addition to 18 major states. So 18 major states are also there. Addition to that, 10 northeastern and Himalayan states are also there, with separate evaluation due to the structural differences. Because see, my dear friends, the financial health of the states which are northeastern states, Himalayan states, it is little bit different. Their economy works in a different manner. They are more basically dependent on the tourism, and if there is any natural calamity, that their economy really suffers a lot. That is why, due to the structural differences, we are evaluating them separately. Now the index provides a data driven comparable assessment of the fiscal performance of the Indian states to evaluate fiscal soundness. Now what exactly are the major sub indices which we use in order to assess these states' performance and their financial healthiness? One is the quality of expenditure. What is the quality of their expenditure? Right? What is the total developmental expenditure? Are they just spending on the normal routine things, or they are doing the productive expenditure? Productive expenditure means that they are spending on a kind of asset which can basically produce revenue for the state. Clear? Then revenue mobilization, whether the state is dependent on the grants from the country, from the union government, or it is having its own taxes and it is having its own revenue sources. Then fiscal prudence, what is the fiscal deficit and the revenue deficit, how exactly the state is managing it. Then the debt index, how much it is spending in the interest payments or the revenue receipts. Then debt sustainability, what is the growth rate of the gross state domestic product, whether their growth rate is higher than the interest rate or not. So we are basically trying to focus on all these areas. Are you guys able to understand? Are you guys getting it? So these are the 5 parameters: quality of expenditure, revenue mobilization, fiscal prudence, debt index, debt sustainability. These are the 5 areas across which we can basically assess these particular parts. Clear? So now the index enables benchmarking across the states and identifies areas for improvement in the fiscal management. So here, my dear friends, what are the states which have topped in these different areas? Let's take an example that Odisha is the state which is a top performer, which has improved its score over the previous year, where Goa and Jharkhand are also among the top achiever states. So what are the states? Odisha, Goa and Jharkhand, right? Odisha is a top performer, Goa and Jharkhand are the top achiever. States account for nearly 1/3 of the India's general government debt, making their fiscal performance crucial for the national fiscal sustainability. Significant variation was there in the fiscal outcomes. Clear? So you can see here, my dear friends, at the bottom of the index, what is the name of the state? That is Punjab. Odisha is on the top. Clear everyone? So please quickly tell me in the chat box what is the name of the organization which has launched this particular part. What is the name of that particular state which has launched this index? That is Niti Aayog. What are the 5 key parameters? What are the 5 key parameters? Let's again see. Quality of expenditure, revenue mobilization, fiscal prudence, debt index, and the debt sustainability. You can remember it by using EMPIS. Expenditure, revenue mobilization, fiscal prudence, debt index, debt sustainability. That's all. Clear? So now let's try to answer this question, my dear friends. So the second advanced estimates of the agricultural production, what was the total food grain production in the Kharif season? 1745, right? In the Rabi season, 1741. That's all we need to do. Now please tell me the second edition of the fiscal health index has been launched by Niti Aayog. What are the 5 fiscal parameters? What are the 5 financial parameters? I told you EMPIS. Expenditure, resource mobilization, fiscal prudence, debt index, debt sustainability. That's all. We are done and dusted. Clear everyone? Now moving it, what is the name of the top performer? It is Odisha. Odisha remained the top performer. With Odisha, with the Goa and Jharkhand. Goa and Jharkhand are the top achiever states. Clear everyone? Clear to everyone? Now let's move on to the next article. The National Conference on the Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan. The National Conference on Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan. So the Ministry of Panchayati Raj has organized the National Conference of the Women Elected Representatives of Panchayats in New Delhi, marking 1 year of Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan. So the 1 year of Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan has been, commemorated. Ministry of Panchayati Raj has organized the National Conference of Women Elected Representatives of Panchayats. Now why exactly we are doing this, my dear friends? Because in our country there are so many women who are elected in panchayats, but what is happening is they are not having much of the power. Sometimes the male people, the male staff are not behaving properly with them. They are not taking the orders from them. So we want to sensitize them, and that is why we had an initiative of Nirbhay Raho initiative under the Nirbhaya Fund was launched to strengthen the women's safety and empowerment in panchayats. To enhance safety and empowerment of the women in the panchayats, we came up with the Nirbhay Raho initiative. So the Nirbhay Raho initiative also was launched under the Nirbhaya Fund to promote women's safety and empowerment in the panchayats. It focuses on capacity building of 14.5 lakh elected women representatives on the legal rights and leadership. We sensitized 17.5 lakh male elected representatives to promote gender equality and accountability. We installed CCTV cameras into the panchayat offices to ensure safety, to enhance technology-enabled safety infrastructure in the women-friendly panchayats. Clear everyone? Everybody able to understand this article? Nirbhaya Raho initiative. Nirbhaya Raho basically states that all my dear girls, please be fearless. You're not required to have any fear of anything, right? So that's why the Nirbhaya Fund, under the Nirbhaya Fund, Nirbhaya Raho initiative was been launched, where we focused on 3 areas. We focused on the capacity building of the women representatives, sensitization of the male elected representatives, and installation of the CCTV cameras. Clear? Under the National Conference on Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan, can you please tell me the name of the ministry which has come up with this initiative? That is Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Absolutely right. Now my dear friend, let's move on to the next article. India EFTA TEPA completes 2 years. So India European Free Trade Association Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement has completed 2 years and entered implementation phase. It was implemented from 1st of October 2025. My dear friends, if I am not wrong, we have already covered it in the April 2025. April 2026 month we have already covered it. Am I right or wrong? We have already covered this article, right? Where I also told you what are the name of these countries which were the part of the EFTA members: Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway and Switzerland. Where I told you no ice lies in Switzerland. That means Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Switzerland. Right? Yes, my dear friends. So basically this is implemented from 1st of October 2025 and we have completed its implementation phase of 2 years. The agreement covers trade, investment, services, technology, collaboration and industrial growth. The TEPA provides access to the high income markets and includes an investment commitment of USD $100 billion. Clear everyone? So we are having this. The TPA provides access to high income markets, includes investment commitment of 100 billion over 15 years. The EFTA commitments include 92.2% of the tariff lines covering 99.6% of the Indian exports. So 99.6% of the India's exports will be with the full coverage of non-agricultural products, concessions on processed agricultural products will be the part of this. And India commitments includes 82.7% of the tariff lines covering 95.3% of the EFTA exports. So EFTA countries allowing 99.6% of the India's exports, but India is only allowing 82.7% of them, of their exports to our country. And we are expecting that we will be facilitating 1 million direct jobs. And this is going to contribute to India's target of USD 1 trillion merchandise export and 1 trillion services exports by 2030. And we have already covered this part that India has built FTA with 38 partner nations, expanding global market access. Clear everyone? So India EFTA, what are the name of the countries? No ice lies in Switzerland. Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Switzerland, right? So under this part, what amount of commitment of investment we have seen? $100 billion USD over a period of 15 years. Clear everyone? So Pasna, I think you have missed the previous sessions, right? So we have discussed in a very detailed manner there that the tariff lines are basically the tariff categories. For example, it can be related to agricultural commodity, it can be the cars, right? So when it comes to India's commitments, so India has only allowed 82.7% of the tariff lines covering 95.3% of the EFTA exports. That's all. Are you guys clear? Let's try to answer this question. So the National Conference on the Sashakt Panchayat Netri Abhiyan, which has completed 1 year, it has been organized by which ministry? It has been organized by Ministry of Panchayati Raj. The Dash initiative under the Nirbhaya Fund was launched. What is the initiative? Nirbhaya Raho initiative. Right? It focuses on building of 14.5 lakh elected women representatives on legal rights and equalities. Sensitization of around 17.5 lakh male elected representatives, installation of CCTV cameras are there. Clear everyone? Now moving on to the India EFTA TEPA, which completed 2 years. What are the name of the 5 countries? The 5 countries are no ice lies in Switzerland. That means Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Switzerland, right? These are the countries, these are the 4 countries. Was implemented from 1st October 2025. Absolutely right. Now let me tell you, my dear friends, last year we have seen a question. The question was on these countries which are the part of the EFTA. Clear? TPA provides access to high income markets and includes an investment commitment of USD $100 billion over 15 years. The 92.2% tariff lines covering what amount of exports? 99.6% of the Indian exports. Contributes to India's target of 1 trillion merchandise exports and USD 1 trillion service exports by which year? By 2030. Absolutely right. 2030 is the right answer. Well done, my dear friends. All of you have given me the right answer. Harshal, Upasna, ABC, Kashish, Kavya, Harshal, Material Share, Kavya, Pratyush, everybody has given the right answer. Well done, my dear friends. Now let's move ahead to the next article. This is a scheme that is the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Right? My dear friend, let's take an example that you are a farmer. You are a farmer. And so many times we see that due to the western disturbances, there is a lot of untimely rain in our country, right? Which always ending up damaging the crops. So basically, it was the hard work of the farmers. It was the hard work, their consistency, their patience, their determinants, right? When they do farming activities. But what happens is due to the untimely rains, there is a damage to the crops. Sometimes there are floods, which causes the damage to the crops. So basically, when there is a damage to the crops, they were basically supposed to get some amount of money by selling those crops, right? But right now they are not having any crops. So what happens, my dear friend? There is a risk to their income. So that's why what exactly government said that, okay, don't worry, we are providing you an insurance service. We will be providing you insurance service under which you can get your crops insured. You know, from which stage to which stage? From pre-sowing stage. That means sowing से पहले वाली स्टेज से लेकर post harvest stage तक we will be providing you the insurance service for these crops, so that if any case you are losing the crops, then we will be providing you some amount of money back, so that you can basically take care of your activities, right? And you can again next year take up the farming. Clear, everyone? So that's why we saw the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which was launched in which year? 2016, to provide comprehensive crop insurance against the yield losses due to the natural risks, stabilizing farmer income and ensuring wider risk coverage across the crops and regions. What is that nodal ministry? So we are basically talking about the agriculture, right? So Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare will be there. So that is the right answer. Now the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana offers crop insurance at highly subsidized premium rates. So at the highly subsidized premium rates, it offers the crop insurance, because the farmers are not having that much amount of money to afford. They need to afford the seeds also, they need to afford the pesticides, fertilizers, and they are also required to pay their other bills as well. So we cannot offer them some hefty premium rates. So that is why it is very important that we are providing them highly subsidized premium rate, with farmers paying maximum the 2% of the sum insured for the kharif crops. See guys, this is a very very important part. So 2% sum of the sum insured for kharif crops, 1.5% for rabi crops, and 5% for commercial horticultural crops, right? So 2% for kharif, 1.5% for rabi, and 5% for commercial horticultural crops. That is the amount of premium that the farmer will be paying. The remaining actuarial or the bidded premiums is shared between the center and the state governments. So who will be paying the remaining premium? It will be shared by center and the state government, like in the ratio of 50:50. So this is for the plain area. This is for the plain areas. But for the northeastern states and the Himalayan states, we are having this ratio 90:10 ratio. That means 90% will be taken care by central government and 10% will be taken care by state government. Clear? So this has been started for the northeastern states, started from Kharif 2020 season. Himalayan states started from Kharif 2023 season. Clear, everyone? 90:10 for the northeast and 50:50 for the normal states. Now farmers are not required to pay any additional premium beyond the prescribed rate. So इस rate के above and beyond they are not required to pay any additional rates. The scheme provides comprehensive risk coverage for the crop damage. Comprehensive risk coverage मिलेगा. What are the stages? Pre-sowing to the post-harvest stages. Please remember this stage is very important. Then it covers the food crops like cereal, millet, pulses, oil seeds, annual commercial horticultural crops as notified by the respective state governments. So whatever the crops which are being notified by the state government, they will be covered under that particular scheme. Clear? Now there is a introduction of the alternative risk transfer models. So the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana also introduces alternative risk transfer model apart from the standard Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Under the standard Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, what was there? Like if the claim from the farmer is up to a certain limit, it will be coming under the standard Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, where basically people are very much clear that okay, they will be getting the full claim, right, or the claim which has been allowed by the state government. But in all the cases this cannot be done. For example, there are three models which are been mentioned here. One is the cup and cap model. Now what exactly is the cup and what is the cap? So my dear friends, let's try to understand this. Let's take a cup, right? This is the cup, right? This is the cup. My drawing is not that much good, my dear friends, so please try to bear with this, right? This is the cup. So basically it is having some certain amount of level. So there will be some minimum amount of the claim which can be claimed by the farmer under this particular scheme, right? So there is a minimum claim as well and there is a maximum amount of claim as well. Clear? So what will be the maximum amount? This is the cap. This is the cup. So whatever can be come here under the cup, right? But sometimes what happens is that the claim can be higher. So basically we are having a particular cap on that particular claim amount. So that is in the ratio of 80:110 ratio. Let's take an example that 100 crore was the claim, right? So it says that you can get the claim between only 80 to 110 crores. The claim was 100 crore, that's fine. But if the claim was 70 crore, then that means that it is 10 crore less than the minimum amount of 80 crores. So basically it will be taken care of by the government, right? And if the amount is basically more than 110 crore, that is it is 130 crore, then now this more than 20 crore will again be taken care by one of the stakeholders. Similarly, there is another model of cup and cap model of 60:130. Then there is a profit and loss sharing model. So these are the three models which are the alternative risk transfer models apart from the standard Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Clear to everyone? Now moving ahead, under these models, if claim remains below a certain threshold part, then part of the government subsidy is returned to the state treasury. What happens is that if the claim was less, then the amount was basically returned to the state treasury only. But if the amount was more, then it was taken. So states and UTs have flexibility to choose between the standard scheme or any of these alternative models. So who will be taking this, who will be taking this decision that which model we will be getting? So it is the states or the UTs. They are responsible for taking this. Clear everyone? No classification of state as the low risk or the high risk under the scheme. There is no classification under the scheme that this state is high risk or the low risk. For the risk management, states are required to group districts into the clusters with the mixed risk profiles like high and low risk areas. Clustering helps in risk diversification and reduces the expected sum insured, ensuring the balanced risk sharing across the regions. So my dear friends, there is no classification of the states among the low risk and the high risk. But what the states have to do is they have to make a cluster of the different cities, that these cities are high risk and these cities are low risk areas. Now the clustering helps in risk diversification and it reduces the expected sum insured, ensuring the balanced risk sharing across the regions. Clear everyone? So I hope that this scheme is very much clear. So please quickly tell me in the chat box in which year the scheme was been launched. Please be quick, be quick. What is the right answer? 2016. Under which ministry? Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Nodal ministry we have done. What is the sum insured for Kharif? 2%. For Rabi, 1.5%. For horticulture commercial, it is 5%. For the remaining part of the premium, what will be the proportion of the share of central and state governments? That is 50:50 ratio for the normal states, 90:10 for northeastern and the Himalayan states. Farmers are not required to pay any additional amount or premium beyond the prescribed limits, right? So it covers the food crops, oil seeds, annual commercial horticultural crops which are being notified by the government of that particular state. It introduces alternative risk model. What kind of models are there? We have cup and cap model of 80:1:10. 60:1:30 and profit and loss sharing model. And if the claim remains below a certain threshold part, who will be responsible? Government subsidy, that is the premium will be returned to the state treasury. So the government which has already paid that amount of the premium, that will be going to the state treasury. Clear? No classification of state as a low risk or high risk under the scheme. Now let's try to answer the questions. Now my dear friends, I want all of you to make sure that you are giving me the answers in the chat box. Before starting it, please show some energy in the chat box. Are you guys ready for this part of the Drishyam round? Are you guys ready? See guys, this is a very, very important scheme. This is really a very, very important scheme. Clear? Okay. So the scheme was launched in which year? 2016. Nodal Ministry, Ministry of Agriculture, Farmer Welfare. Now, when it comes to the highly subsidized premium rates, what is the rate for Kharif crops? 2%, Rabi crops 1.5%, commercial horticulture 5%. So, for the remaining actuarial or bidded premium, it is shared between central and state governments in 50:50 ratio. Absolutely right. For the northeastern states and Himalayan states, what is the ratio? 90:10. The covered food crops, it covers food crops, cereal, millets, pulses, oil seeds, and annual commercial horticultural crops. No risk classification of the states as the high risk or the low risk under the scheme. Instead, the state will be clustering the cities into the high risk areas and the low risk areas. Clear everyone? Everybody able to understand the article? Everybody able to retain the information about the scheme? If I give you descriptive answer right now on the scheme, will you be able to answer me that? Please tell me in the chat box. If yes, give me a thumbs up. If no, give me a thumbs down. Will you be able to attempt a descriptive question on this part? Let me tell you that in the examination of RBI, there will be no such question directly based on a scheme or descriptive question, right? But let me tell you that you can always use the scheme related data, reports related data in your answers. Clear? Okay, Ji. Let's move on to the next scheme now. That is the modified interest subvention scheme. So modified interest subvention scheme is there, which was launched in year 2006 or 7 as the interest subvention scheme, which was later modified as MISS, that is modified interest subvention scheme. पहले नाम था इसका इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन स्कीम, फिर इसको मॉडिफाई कर दिया गया तो नाम हो गया मॉडिफाइड इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन स्कीम, राइट? सो इट इज इम्प्लीमेंटेड बाय RBI and monitored by NABARD with the participation of public sector banks, RRBs, cooperative banks and private sector banks. So it is implemented and monitored by Reserve Bank of India, NABARD, with participation of public sector banks, RRBs, cooperative banks and private sector banks. It is a central sector scheme under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. It is a central sector scheme, my dear friends. It aims to provide affordable short-term credit to farmers through the Kisan credit cards. Through which scheme we are providing the short-term credit to the farmers. See guys, what happens that so many times we see that farmers have to wait for the credit. How? Basically, farmer is basically, busy in sowing the seeds, then doing the farming activity. Then when he is basically selling the product, then only he will be getting the amount of money, right? So during this whole season, what about his daily personal needs? His family also needs some amount of money for their expenditures, right? So basically for the short-term credit. So basically farmer also need money for the fertilizer, for the pesticide, for the seeds, for the other important things. So basically to compensate that, we have come up with a Kisan credit card scheme. A credit card which we are giving to the Kisan. So it is called Kisan credit card scheme, which provides short-term credit to the farmers. So the cabinet has approved the continuation of the scheme for fiscal year 25-26 with 1.5% interest subvention. So 1.5% interest subvention के साथ we are allowing the continuation of the scheme to banks for short-term crop loans up to ₹3 lakh issued via KCC. So through the KCC, what amount of loan we can get? ₹3 lakh. Short-term crop loans we can get ₹3 lakhs. Clear everyone? Now what are the different benefits under the scheme? The farmer receive loans at a 7% interest rate, where 3% is the prompt repayment. Additional 3% prompt repayment incentive for timely repayment, reducing the effective interest rate of 4%. That means if the farmer has taken the rate loan at a 7% interest rate, and he gives and he repays the loan on the time, then he will be having an effective interest rate of only 4%. For animal husbandry and the fisheries, interest benefit is applicable to loans up to rupees 2 lakh. Revolving credit facility under the KCC for up to 5 years. There is a revolving credit facility under the KCC up to 5 years, and the flexible withdrawals and collateral free loans up to rupees 2 lakh are there. So see guys, these are the very important part that we have come up under the modified interest subvention scheme. We have approved its continuation for fiscal year 25-26. What is the interest subvention? 1.5%. What is the short term crop loan which can be provided? 3 lakhs. Farmer receive loans at 7% interest rate, and in the case of the timely repayment, the 3% repayment incentive will be provided, reducing the effective interest rate to the 4%. For animal husbandry and fisheries, interest benefit is applicable for loans up to rupees 2 lakhs. The revolving credit facility under the Kisan credit card for up to 5 years. There will be flexible withdrawal and collateral free loans up to rupees 2 lakhs. It provides interest relief during the natural calamities up to 1 year, extendable to 5 years in the severe cases. Clear? I hope this is clear to everyone. The scheme ensures availability of industrial credit, institutional credit, and supports financial inclusion, especially for the small and marginal farmers. The government has launched the Kisan Rin portal to digitally track interest subvention claims and improve transparency. It ensures faster disbursement and accountability, benefiting both farmers and the banks. So you guys are absolutely right, my dear friend, that the last year we have seen that there was an increase in the budget. During the budget, there was an increase of amount in the KCC loans, right? But here we are talking about the loans which are provided under the modified interest subvention scheme. So do not worry. Still, considering your request, I will be digging more into this article, right? And I will be giving you the confirmation tomorrow session. Clear everyone? In the tomorrow session, I will be giving you the confirmation, right? But let me tell you that when it comes to this article has been covered directly from a link of the Press Information Bureau, right? And what is the information which has been provided here? It is correct. So there might be some issue with the understanding of this article. Clear everyone? Clear to all? So basically right now we are talking about the modified interest subvention scheme, my dear friends, under which 3 lakh of the loan is approved for via KCC, which is the short term crop loan. Clear everyone? So please remember, modified interest subvention scheme was launched in 2006-07. The name was interest subvention scheme, later modified as modified interest subvention scheme. It was implemented and monitored by RBI and NABARD with the participation of public sector banks. एक सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम है अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड फार्मर्स वेलफेयर. इट प्रोवाइड अफोर्डेबल शॉर्ट टर्म क्रेडिट लोन through the Kisan credit card, and cabinet has approved that you can take 3 lakh loan up to 3 lakh loan via the KCC as a part of this scheme. The 7% interest rate will be there. The effective rate will be 4% if you are timely repaying that particular loan. Clear everyone? The revolving credit facility will be under KCC up to 5 years, and the flexible withdrawals and collateral free loans up to rupees 2 lakh. It provides interest relief during the natural calamities up to 1 year and extendable up to 5 years in the severe cases. What is the name of the portal which has been launched to digitally track the interest subvention claims and improve transparency? That is the Kisan Rin portal. Clear everyone? Upasana, don't worry, I will be digging more into this article and I will be confirming you tomorrow, right? So if you are really looking into it, then please look into the PIB article, right? That will be helping you more about this particular article. Okay, so let's move ahead. The modified interest subvention scheme, my dear friend, it was launched in which year? 2006-07 as interest subvention scheme. Later it was modified as modified interest subvention scheme. It was implemented and monitored by RBI and NABARD. Clear? It is a central sector scheme under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. It aims to provide affordable short-term loan credit to the farmers through which facility Kisan Credit Card, right? And the cabinet has approved continuation of the scheme for the fiscal year 25-26 with what percentage of the interest subvention? 1.5% of interest subvention to banks for short-term crop loans up to rupees what amount? 3 lakh rupees. Please remember 3 lakh only for now. Clear? In case of the timely repayment of the loan by the farmer, then there will be incentive of 3%, and the effective rate of now the loan interest rate of 7% will now reduce to the 4%. The revolving credit facility under KCC for up to 5 years, flexible withdrawals and collateral free loans up to rupees 2 lakh. Now please tell me the name of the portal which has been launched to digitally track interest subvention claims and improve the transparency. Please quickly tell me the right answer. What is the right answer here? It is Kisan Rin portal. Absolutely right. So everybody clear with this? Everybody clear with this? Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. Now my dear friends, we are moving on to the next scheme, that is the extension of the Jal Jeevan Mission. So we have already covered a lot many times here that the Jal Jeevan Mission scheme has been extended and the new timeline is up to December 2028. So JJM has been extended till December 2028 with restructured implementation focusing on shifting from infrastructure creation to the service delivery. I told you that earlier the initiative was more of regarding providing the tap water connections to the people, but now it is basically more of the service delivery, that whether you are getting the adequate amount of water, adequate quality of the water, and all the time you are getting the water or not, whether it is sufficient for you or not. So all these things are the part of the service delivery now. Clear? The total outlay has been enhanced to 8.69 lakh crores with central assistance of rupees 3.59 lakh crores, and which is increased from 2.08 lakh crore in 2019 to 20 with additional central share of rupees 1.51 lakh crores. Clear everyone? The total outlay has announced to 8.69 lakh crores. The focus on strengthening the drinking water governance and the institutional ecosystem. It will be focusing on strengthening the drinking water governance. How? I told you that we are engaging all the stakeholders in the water delivery. Even the community participation is required here. Right? Introduction of the National Digital Framework Sujalam Bharat to digitally map water supply systems from the source to the tap. We are required to ensure that we are digitally mapping down the water supply systems from source to the tap as a part of Sujalam Bharat framework, where each village will be assigned a unique Sujal Gaon or service area ID for better monitoring and engagement. Clear everyone? We will be providing emphasis on the transparency and accountability through involvement of the Gram Panchayat and village water sanitation committees via Jal Arpan for commissioning and handover of the schemes. And the Gram Panchayats are required to declare Har Ghar Jal status only after ensuring that the proper operation and maintenance systems are in place. That means in terms of the service delivery, all the operations, all the service delivery things are basically properly implemented. The maintenance systems are working properly. Then only the Gram Panchayat can declare that okay, we have achieved the Har Ghar Jal status. Clear? Without the confirmation, the Gram Panchayat is not allowed to do this. Now the community participation is promoted through Jal Utsav, is an annual event of the maintenance, review and strengthening local ownership for the water resources. Clear everyone? Now comes to the Jal Jeevan Mission 2.0. It will facilitate the certification of all Gram Panchayats as Har Ghar Jal by provisioning tap water connection to all 19.36 crore rural households. So what is the target here? 19.36 crore rural households. By which year? December 2028. We are going to assure 24/7 rural drinking water supply. Now what is the progress under the Jal Jeevan Mission? What is the actual data? The rural tap water connection has been increased from 3.23 crore households to 15.8 crore. See guys, under the Jal Jeevan Mission we have improved from 3.23 crore to 15.8 crore. And the target under the Jal Jeevan Mission is 19.36 crore. Over 12.56 crore additional rural households have been provided tap water connections under the mission. The target was 3.23, that was already achieved. but we have basically achieved 5 times more, that is 15.8 crores. That is 12.56 crore additional rural households have been provided the tap water connections under the mission. Clear everyone? Clear all? So my dear friends, that's all about the Jal Jeevan Mission 2.0. For the Jal Jeevan Mission, my dear friends, this is the homework for all of you. This is the homework for all of you. You will be reading it on your own, because we have already covered, the basics of the Jal Jeevan Mission so many times in the previous times, and it's all theoretical in nature. Clear? So let's again revise the scheme. Jal Jeevan Mission timeline has been extended to December 2028 with the outlay of 8.69 lakh crores. The introduction of National Digital Framework of Sujalam Bharat to digitally map water supply systems from source to tap. Sujal Gaon or service area ID will be given to all them. Then Gram Panchayat will be given Jal Arpan for commissioning and handover of the schemes. The Gram Panchayat are required to allot Har Ghar Jal status after ensuring proper operation and maintenance systems in the place. Then Jal Utsav, that we have already covered the first article of the today's session. Then Jal Jeevan Mission is having the target of 19.36 crore households by December 2028. Under the Jal Jeevan Mission, the earlier one, the target was 3.23 crore, but we achieved 15.8 crores. That is 12.56 additional, right? Now let's try to answer this question. Extension of the Jal Jeevan Mission. So Union Cabinet has approved the extension and restructuring of Jal Jeevan Mission up to, what is the right answer? Up to December 2028. Absolutely right. JJM extended till December 2028 with restructured implementation, focusing on shifting from infrastructure creation to dash delivery and sustainable rural drinking water supply. What is the right answer, guys? Infrastructure creation to service delivery. Absolutely right. Total outlay has been announced to 8.69 lakh crores, right? Introduction of National Digital Framework, that is Sujalam Bharat, where we will be digitalizing, where we will be digitally mapping the water supply systems from source to the tap. Gram Panchayat will be declaring Har Ghar Jal status. Jal Jeevan Mission 2.0 will facilitate the certification of all Gram Panchayats as the Har Ghar Jal by providing tap water connection to all the, what amount of the crore rural households? 19.36. And what is the achievement that we have seen under the Jal Jeevan Mission? The target was 3.23 crore. We achieved 15.8 crore households, and that was additional 12.5 crore additional rural households. Clear, my dear friends? Under the Jal Jeevan Mission, we were having that particular aim of envisioning to provide safe and adequate drinking water through individual household tap connection by 2024. The implementation is the homework for all of you. You will be going through that particular scheme in a detailed manner, then you will be giving me the answer in the comment section that what is the name of the entity which will be implementing the Jal Jeevan Mission. Clear, everyone? Let's move on to the next news article. The National Cooperative Database NCD portal is there. So the National Cooperative Database has been developed by the Ministry of Cooperation and was launched in March 2024. It provides a single point access to the information on over 8.4 lakh cooperatives with 31 crore members. See guys, ये एक single point access platform है information का of over 8.4 lakh cooperatives. Like any cooperative, they can just come here and they can access the information. The database is developed in the 3 phases, includes data on the location, membership, economic activities and the infrastructure. For data accuracy and interoperability, NCD is integrated with the multiple government platforms, including the Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Kendras, Common Service Centers, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samruddhi Kendras, Udyam portal and the ePCS portal. Clear, everyone? So this is the NCD National Cooperative Database portal, which was launched by the Ministry of Cooperation in March 2024. Now let's move on to the next part. The Natural Gas Order 2026 prioritizes fertilizer sector. So my dear friends, the Department of Fertilizer has issued the Natural Gas Supply Regulation Order 2026, which includes the fertilizer sector in the priority list for natural gas supply. For the natural gas supply, we are having the fertilizer sector on the priority list. on what part it has been placed. The fertilizer plants have been placed under the priority sector 2 to ensure uninterrupted domestic fertilizer production. So the fertilizer plants have been placed under the priority sector 2 to ensure uninterrupted domestic fertilizer production. Under the order, fertilizer plants will receive at least 70% of their average natural gas consumption based on the last 6 months. तो 70% जो उनको एवरेज नेचुरल गैस चाहिए होती है, राइट, वो हम कैलकुलेट करेंगे लास्ट 6 मंथ्स के रिक्वायरमेंट के अकॉर्डिंग, एंड दे विल बी रिसीविंग दैट। द फर्टिलाइजर प्लांट्स नीड्स नेचुरल गैस, और इसीलिए द फर्टिलाइजर सेक्टर हैज़ बीन प्लेस्ड ऑन द प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट फॉर नेचुरल गैस सप्लाई। सी माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, the person who really requires the entity which basically really requires a good supply of a particular thing, that should be given the priority, right? For example, that there is a person that who is weak in the general awareness, so we should supply the general awareness things, current affair articles, lectures to that particular person in a very much detailed manner, right? So basically that person is now on the priority list because he needs the current affairs. Let's take an example. You are preparing for the RBI examination, current affairs is having a high weightage there. In the SEBI examination, current affairs is having very low weightage. So who will be on the priority list for the current affairs in terms of current affairs for the examination point of view? That is the RBI aspirant. Similarly, our fertilizer sector requires a lot of natural gas supply, right? So we have kept them on the priority list, that is the priority sector 2, to ensure uninterrupted domestic fertilizer production, so that we are having uninterrupted domestic fertilizer production. That is why we are coming up with this part. So basically that's what we are discussing, right? We are basically saying that fertilizer sector is now in the priority list for the natural gas supply. That means we have to ensure that we are supplying the natural gas in an uninterrupted manner without failure to the fertilizers sector, so that fertilizer production cannot stop, because they need the natural gas supply, the fertilizer sector. Are you understanding ABC? Okay. So the fertilizer plants have been placed under the priority sector to ensure uninterrupted domestic fertilizer production. Under the order, fertilizer plants will receive at least 70% of their average natural gas consumption based on the last 6 months. The measure aims to protect fertilizer production from global supply disruptions, especially LNG supply issues due to the Middle East conflict. The priority allocation is intended to ensure timely availability of fertilizers to farmers and support smooth agricultural activities. Guys, let's take an example. Right now, during the war-like situation, we had that shortage of LNG supply, right? And due to which, you know what, so many things are basically impacted, and fertilizer is also one of the things. So basically we want to ensure that we are not importing so much of the fertilizer, but we need fertilizer in a really good amount, because our economy is having a lot of people who are employed in the agriculture sector only. So that is the reason that we want to ensure that we should be having uninterrupted supply, so that there is a proper smooth production of the fertilizer, so that there is no lack of supply of the fertilizers in our country. The department has released the data-backed status of the current reserves. So basically this is not that much important for now, my dear friends. Only this part is you are required to cover that, okay, under which priority list the fertilizer plants have been placed under these rules. Clear, everyone? Getting it? Are you guys able to understand it? Please give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you guys are able to understand and retain this information from examination point of view. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Integration of artificial intelligence and institutional reforms in the disaster management. So the Disaster Management Amendment Act 2025 has introduced the provision 41A, empowering states to establish urban disaster management authorities in the state capitals and cities with municipal corporations. So integration, we are basically focusing on integration of artificial intelligence and institutional reforms in the disaster management. That's why we want to use the artificial intelligence in empowering the states. And how we will be empowering the states? We are encouraging the states to establish the urban disaster management authorities in the state capitals. Now they will be responsible for preparing urban disaster management plans. If there is a disaster coming in the urban areas, how exactly we can combat it, how exactly we can mitigate its impact. So we want to address the city specific risks such as flooding, heat waves, coordinating all the implementation of the plans. This will be done by UDMA, that is Urban Disaster Management Authority. Clear, the amendment mandates creation of a national disaster database containing the risk assessments, mitigation plans and the real-time disaster data. The artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies have been integrated into the disaster management. Now guys, let's try to answer the question. The National Cooperative Database Portal. Please be quick, try to give me the answer in the chat box here. So the National Cooperative Database has been developed by Ministry of Cooperation. It was launched in the March which year? 2024. The Natural Gas Supply Regulation Order 2026 prioritizes fertilizer sector. So the fertilizer plants have been placed under which sector? Priority sector 2. So the priority sector 2 is the right answer. Absolutely right. You have given me the right answer. Under the order, fertilizer plants will receive at least what percentage of their average natural gas? 70%. Absolutely right. Now my dear friends, moving on to the next article. The integration of artificial intelligence and institutional reforms in the disaster management. The Disaster Management Amendment Act 2025 introduced provision 4(1)(a), which empowers the states to establish urban disaster management authorities. The UDMAs are responsible for preparing urban disaster management plans. The amendment mandates creation of a dash containing the risk assessments, mitigation plans and the real-time disaster data. So we are talking about the disaster plans, right? It mandates the creation of a national disaster database, my dear friends. National disaster database. Clear everyone? All the people are able to answer me the question in the chat box correctly. So I can see here material share Kashish, ABC, Kavya, Harshal, ABC. All the people have given me the right answer. Well done. Now let's move on to the next part. Now let's move on to the next article. And the next article is on the renewal of the bilateral swap arrangement between the Japan and India. So my dear friends, Japan and India have signed a bilateral swap arrangement effective from February 2028, 2026. Please remember what is the size of the bilateral swap arrangement between Japan and India. That is 75 billion US dollars. Now guys, how exactly the BSA basically works? Let me tell you that it is a two-side arrangement. It is a two-way arrangement that allows both authorities to swap their local currencies to exchange in the US dollar. Let's take an example, my dear friends, that India and Japan have signed this BSA. They have capped the capacity at 75 billion US dollars. Let's take an example that what happens is that there is a problem with the Indian currency, right? And India basically need more and more dollars. India need more dollars. So what happens is that India, but somehow due to the any problem in the forex reserves, we are not having so much of the US dollars. So what we can do, we can swap the US dollars with the Japan. How? We will be giving Japan Indian rupees. We will giving the Japan Indian rupees, and Japan will be giving us the dollars. Let's take an example. We require $10 billion, right? So basically Japan will give us USD $10 billion by taking the amount in the rupees. Similarly, when Japan need that amount, so what we will be doing, Japan will be giving us the money in its own currency and India will be giving the dollars. Sometimes what happens is that during the worst situations, we need that amount of liquidity, right? And that is why, that is the point of time when we can use this bilateral swap arrangement. So you are only required to remember that the bilateral swap arrangement has been renewed between the two countries. What are the two countries? India and Japan, right? What is the amount? 75 billion US dollars. Clear everyone? Please try to answer this question. India and Dash has signed a renewed the bilateral swap arrangement effective from February 28, 2026. What is it? Japan. And what is the amount? 75 US billion dollars. Absolutely right. 75 billion US dollars. So the Dash acting as the agent for the Minister of Finance Japan, that is the Bank of Japan, will be acting as the agent for the Minister of Finance, and the Reserve Bank of India has signed the third amendment and restatement agreement of the BSA. Absolutely right. So my dear friends, with this we are done with the phase 1 and 2 articles completely for the 1st to 10th of March 2026. Let me tell you, my dear friend, that today's session, right, there were so many articles. 45 articles are there for the phase 1 and phase 2. That is why we have taken that much amount of time to ensure the proper coverage of these articles, right? They need this much amount of time, so that we are ensuring that we are not just covering the articles, we are understanding them, we are covering them, we are revising them, and we are retaining them. And we have achieved all these things in this particular session. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys agree with me that yes, we have achieved this? Okay, and I can see that in the chat box so many people are asking for the break. Don't worry, my dear friends, let's have a break. Right now in my watch the time is 5:56, right? And let's meet after 6 minutes, that is 6:02. Please ensure that everybody of you is coming back after the break, and your time starts now. So my dear future RBI officers, are you guys back after the break? Please give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you guys are back so that we can resume the session. So are you guys back after the break? Need your confirmation. Please give me a thumbs up in the chat box if yes, so that we can resume the session. Please mark your attendance. If there is any of your friend who went on for the water break and just flown away with the water, please bring that person back. This is the requirement of the time, this is the need of the hour that we should complete this particular session, right? Now we will be little bit quick in nature because now we are focusing on the phase 1 articles only, right? And we will try to cover as many as possible in the next 40 to 45 minutes, right? And after that we will be wrapping up the session. Okay, so we will be just covering these articles in the next 40 to 45 minutes, and then we will be wrapping up the session. We will be covering the remaining part in the tomorrow's part. Okay, so let's resume the session. The first article, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, I already told you. It commemorated its 25th foundation day. It was set up under the Energy Conservation Act 2001, functions under the Ministry of Power, Government of India. And this year, because it has completed its 25th foundation day, B@25 logo was been unveiled. That's all from this particular article. Moving at the National Governance Conference. So the Department of Administrative Reform and Public Grievances, in collaboration with the government of Jammu and Kashmir, organized the National Governance Conference in Jammu. The theme is Holistic Development of Districts, Transforming Governance for Viksit Bharat. Let me tell you that it is not that much important from exam point of view. It is less relevant from exam point of view. Clear? So DARPG, in collaboration with the government of Jammu and Kashmir, has organized National Governance Conference with the theme Holistic Development of Districts, Transforming Governance for the Viksit Bharat. Next article, Mobile World Congress was held in Barcelona, Spain, one of the largest global gatherings for technology and telecommunications sector. So basically, what is the name of the place where this Congress was held? Barcelona, Spain, that is the right answer. Now the joint maritime exercise Kalari Leap. Kalari Leap is an exercise which was being conducted by the Southern Air Command of the Indian Air Force, and it was conducted in Lakshadweep and Minicoy Archipelago. Clear everyone? Kalari Leap is the name of that exercise which is being conducted in the Lakshadweep and Minicoy Archipelago. Absolutely right. Now comes the World Wildlife Day 26. It was being observed on 3rd of March to mark the adoption of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, that is CITES. So World Wildlife Day is observed on the 3rd of March to mark the adoption of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. The theme of the 2026 is Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Conserving Health, Heritage and Livelihoods. So what is the theme for 2026? It is Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Conserving Health, Heritage and Livelihoods. Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Conserving Health, Heritage and Livelihoods. India is one of the 17 mega biodiversity rich countries with around 15,000 medicinal plant species, of which 8,000 are used in the Indian medicines. So World Wildlife Day 2026 we celebrate every year on 3rd of March. Absolutely right. Now the NIFTMK and University of Saskatchewan Science MOU, guys, a very typical name, right? I don't think we should pronounce this particular name. Okay, just try to remember that National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management, Kundali, under the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, has signed this MOU with the university. Just remember its half name, that is USASC of Canada. USASC of Canada. Clear everyone? So 5-year agreement has been signed to strengthen the academic and research collaboration with this particular university. That's all. So USASC Canada के साथ निफ्टम कुंडली ने MOU साइन किया है for strengthening academic and research collaboration. So Ministry of Defence has signed contract worth 5,083 crore for the ALH MK3 maritime rule. So basically Ministry of Defence has signed contract worth 5,083 crores for the procurement of 6 advanced light helicopters for the Indian Coast Guard and surface-to-air vertical Still missiles of the Indian Navy. Still missiles for the Indian Navy. The contract is worth 2901 crore was signed with the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Bengaluru. 2182 crore contract was there for surface-to-air vertical launch of Still missiles and associated missile holding frames was signed with JSC Rozoboro Export Russian Federation. Clear everyone? Let's try to answer these questions. Now. Please tell me in the chat box, the 25th Foundation Day of the Bureau of Energy Efficiency was celebrated. It was set up under the Energy Conservation Act 2001. The Mobile World Congress 26 was held in Barcelona, Spain. Joint maritime exercise Kalari Leap was being conducted in Lakshadweep and Minicoy Archipelago. World Wildlife Day we observed every year on 3rd March. The theme of 2026 is Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Conserving Health, Heritage and Livelihoods. The NIFTEM and University of USASC has signed an MOU with the universities from Canada. Ministry of Defence has signed an MOU worth 5,083 crore for the procurement of advanced light helicopters, surface-to-air missile launch Still missiles for the Indian Navy. We are done with this. Now let's move on to the next part. Nationwide Asmita League. So Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has announced the Nationwide Asmita program to celebrate International Women's Day on 8th of March. The Asmita stands for Achieving Sports Milestones by Inspiring Women Through Action. So we are achieving the sports milestones. How? By inspiring women through action. It is a part of the Khelo India initiative aimed at promoting women's partnership in the sports. The program was launched in which year? 2021. Sports Authority of India National Sports Federation is conducting Khelo India Women's Leagues at zonal and national levels. Asmita stands for Achieving Sports Milestones. Achieving sports milestones by inspiring through action. Clear? Now my dear friends, 30 kilowatt of the wide band gap based integrated drive system for the electric vehicles. Application in Chennai. So Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has launched its indigenously developed 30 kilowatt wide band gap based integrated drive system for electric vehicles applications in Chennai. The technology was developed by the Center for Development of Advanced Computing along with the IIT Madras and Lucas TVS. तो Lucas TVS IIT Madras के साथ मिलकर CDEC तिरुवनंतपुरम ने बेसिकली इस टेक्नोलॉजी को डेवलप किया है. 30 किलोवाट वाइड बैंड गैप बेस्ड इंटीग्रेटेड ड्राइव सिस्टम फॉर इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल डेवलप्ड अंडर द नेशनल मिशन ऑन पावर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स टेक्नोलॉजी. नामपेट के अंदर इसको डेवलप किया गया. मूविंग एट, सेंट्रल वेयर हाउसिंग कॉर्पोरेशन विच इज अ सेंट्रल पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइज has celebrated 70th Foundation Day on 2nd March 2026. 3rd March is national. It is World Wildlife Day, right? The organization has completed 70 years of service in strengthening India's food security framework, warehousing infrastructure and logistic development. That's all my dear friends. Now moving ahead, the Tribal Affairs Ministry has announced to organize some of the festivals. For example, it has announced Tribal Art Fest, Living Root Music Festival, Bharat Tribe Fest 2026. So these are the key events which has been announced by the Tribal Affairs Ministry that it will be organizing this year. Then International Solar Alliance and IIT Delhi. Guys, International Solar Alliance and the IIT Delhi have formalized a framework of action to strengthen cooperation in the solar energy skills and capacity building across ISA member countries. Can anybody tell me that where is the headquarters of International Solar Alliance? So this basically this MOU aims to train renewable energy engineers, research professionals and trainers of Solar Technology Application Resource Centers, STAR-C. Solar Technology Application Resource Center, STAR-C is the right answer. Where is the headquarters of ESA? That is Gurugram. Gurugram is the right answer. So ISA has basically, ISA along with the IIT Delhi has formalized a framework for action to strengthen cooperation in the solar energy skills. Moving ahead, my dear friends, the DGCA has granted aerodrome license to the Noida International Airport, Jewar. So, Directorate General of Civil Aviation has granted aerodrome license to the Yamuna International Airport Private Limited. Basically, allocation of the aerodrome license basically allows the Noida International Airport to operate for the aircraft operations. So now with this license, Noida International Airport, which is at Jewar in Gautam Budh Nagar of Uttar Pradesh, can operate for the aircraft operations also. The airport has been developed by the Yamuna International Airport Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Zurich Airport International AG, under the public-private partnership model. So, which airport has been given this aerodrome license? Noida International Airport. Absolutely right. OTEC based desalination project has been unveiled in Lakshadweep. That is the Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion based desalination project has been launched in Kavarati, Lakshadweep, which provides sustainable energy and drinking water to island communities. My dear friend, drinking water is really very important. Sustainable energy is very important. So we are providing both of them to the island communities with the help of this OTEC, Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion based desalination project. It converts the sea water into the potable water by using the temperature difference between the warm surface sea water and cold deep sea water to generate energy. Clear everyone? The 57th raising day ceremony of the CISF was being held in Odisha. CISF was established on 10th of March 1969 under the CISF Act 1968. So it is responsible for the security of critical infrastructure and industrial establishments in India. So you will see that whenever you will be visiting any Maharatna, Mini Ratna companies, right, you will be seeing that the persons who are guarding that organization is basically the CISF. Clear? So basically it is responsible for the security of parliament, major national institutions and the critical infrastructure. For example, airports. Then my dear friends, it comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Right? Ministry of Home Affairs के अंडर आती है. CISF was established on which date? 10th of March 1969. Now my dear friends, AI powered G Spider robot under the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, Trivandrum Municipal Corporation has deployed an AI powered G Spider robotic system. It eliminates the manual scavenging and improves the safety of sanitation workers. When it comes to the G Spider, it has been developed by Gen Robotic Innovations. So it has been developed by Gen Robotic Innovations and is designed to operate in the complex canal environments without human entry. It is designed to operate in complex canal environments without human entry. That is the right answer. Clear everyone? Clear to everyone? So are you guys ready to answer me the questions here? Are you guys ready to give me the answer here on the Drishyam round? Please be quick, be quick, be quick. Try to give me the answer in the chat box. Nationwide Asmita League has been launched by the Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports. It will be celebrating International Women's Day on which date? 8th March. 8th March is the right answer. Okay. So now Asmita, please quickly tell me the full form of Asmita. Asmita was launched in year 2021. Now what is the full form of Asmita? That is advancing sports milestones of women through action. Right? Clear to everyone? Now please tell me that what amount of kilowatt wide band gap based integrated drive system for EVs was there? That is 30 kilowatt. Everybody was saying me that, sir, yes, we are ready. And now they are not giving me the full form of Asmita. Why so? What is the good reason behind this? Please tell me in the chat box. You should remember this, my dear friends, okay? Now the Center for Development of Advanced Computing Thiruvananthapuram in collaboration with the Dash and Lucas TVS. So what is the name of this particular entity? What is the name of that entity? Please tell me here in the chat box. It is IIT Madras. Absolutely right. IIT Madras is the right answer. Now International Solar Alliance and IIT Delhi have formalized a framework for action to strengthen cooperation in the solar energy skills. DGCA grants aerodrome license to the Noida International Airport in Jewar. The Director General of Civil Aviation granted the aerodrome license to the Yamuna International Private Limited, Yamuna International Airport Private Limited for Noida International Airport. OTEC based salination project is reviewed in Lakshadweep, in Kavarati, Lakshadweep. What is the OTEC? Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion based desalination project. 57th Raising Day ceremony of the Central Industrial Security Force. It was established on 10th of March 1969. It comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now the AI powered G Spider robot. So under the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, the Thiruvananthapuram Municipal Corporation has deployed an AI powered G Spider robotic system for canal cleaning. The robot has been deployed near the railway station premises at Thampunur in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. That is the right answer. Now the Dash has been developed by Gen Robotic Innovation, is designed to operate in the complex canal environments without human entry. What is the right answer? It is a G Spider. It is basically launched to eliminate the manual scavenging and improve the safety of sanitation workers. Absolutely right. So now my dear friends, let's move on to the next part. The TDB support projects. The TDB supports project for sustainable recycling of the lithium ion batteries. Right? TDB, that is a Technology Development Board under the Department of Science and Technology, has provided the financial support for a project on sustainable recycling of the waste lithium ion batteries. It aims to commercialize an indigenous zero discharge and sustainable battery recycling processes. Not that much relevant from examination point of view. Moving ahead, Director General of Training under the Minister of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship signed a flexible memorandum of understanding with the Bajaj Auto Limited under the revised Flexi MOU scheme. So क्या किया है दोस्तों? एक MOU साइन किया है Flexi MOU with the Bajaj Auto, which will be strengthening industry aligned skill development in the automotive manufacturing. Under the partnership, it will functioning as an industry training partner and NSQ of aligned industry integrated training programs. My dear friends, yesterday we covered that under the craftsman training scheme, we covered a very important part, that we have decided to introduce the on the job training, right? So how many hours have been introduced in the on the job training? Can anybody tell me that? What was the amount of the on the job training hours which has been added? 150 hours. In the craftsman training scheme, the learning hours have been reduced from 1600 hours to what hours? 1200 hours. Absolutely right. So I can see in the chat box. So Harshal, Upasna, Kashish, ABC, Material Share have given me the right answer. Well done, my dear friends. Now moving on to the next part, my dear friends, Khelo India, first ever Khelo India Tribal Games were being inaugurated in Chhattisgarh. They were conducted across the 7 medal sports including athletics, football, hockey, weightlifting, archery, swimming and wrestling. The 2 demonstration projects sports were Malakham and Kabaddi, and it was organized by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports with the Sports Authority of India. The official mascot of the event was Morveer, derived from Mor means mine or or in the Chhattisgarh, and Veer, that is a courage and valor. The Khelo India Tribal Games are the part of the Khelo India scheme as the central sector scheme of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Khelo India Games were declared as the event of national importance in 2020 under the Sports Broadcasting Signals Act 2007. Clear to everyone? Please quickly tell me the Khelo India Tribal Games, the first edition has been conducted in which area? Chhattisgarh. What is the mascot? Morveer. What are the 2 demonstration sports? Malakham and Kabaddi. It is organized by Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. It comes under which scheme? Khelo India scheme. It is a central sponsor scheme, central sector scheme. Under which ministry? Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Absolutely right, done and dusted. Moving ahead, Competition Commission of India has approved the additional shareholding acquisition by the Central Bank of India. So Central Bank of India will be having the additional shareholding in the Generali Central Insurance Company Limited and Generali Central Life Insurance Company Limited. So 1.09% of the additional equity in the GCICL and 0.82% in the GCLICL by the Central Bank of India will be acquired as a part of this particular approval from the Competition Commission of India. Clear what is the name of the bank? That is Central Bank of India. Please tell me the next part, the logo of the Cycling League of India. Let me tell you, my dear friends, it is the first kind of such franchisee based professional road cycling league which will be taking place in our country. Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has unveiled the logo of the same, which creates professional ecosystem for the road cycling in India. It seeks to nurture cycling talent and attract global attention to cycling competitions in our country. Clear everyone? So the logo of the Cycling League of India has been unveiled. Clear? Moving ahead, the version 2.0 of the Indian Culture Portal has been launched. Ministry of Culture has launched the version 2.0 of the Indian Cultural Portal as a major technological upgrade to enhance access to India's cultural heritage. Indian Culture Portal was launched in December 2019, provides a unified digital platform where the cultural resources from the museum, library, archives and the cultural institutions across India. So it is unifying all these areas onto the one platform. Now the version 2.0 introduces a modern architecture with the React based front end and Drupal backend, improving speed, scalability, system performance and the user experience. Now my dear friends comes a very important part. See, in the version 2.0 of the Indian Cultural Portal which has been launched, there is the AI powered chatbot that we are having, that is the Bharati chatbot, which is integrated with the Government of India's Bhashini platform, providing the support across the 22 Indian languages. So please remember, 22 Indian languages support has been provided through the Bharati chatbot on the Indian Cultural Portal, which has been launched by which ministry? Ministry of Culture. Absolutely right. Now my dear friends, Bharti Airtel and Google have joined hands to deliver a secure and enhanced messaging experience to the users in our own country. So Bharti Airtel will be using the Google's rich communication service platform, and it will be able to access the RCS messaging with the features such as the high quality photo and the video sharing. Clear? So there will be encrypted messages and secure messages. Now the interim leadership arrangement activated in Iran. So this article is not that much important, my dear friends. Just remember, the supreme leader of the Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in the joint US-Israeli airstrike, which basically activated Article 111 of the Constitution. And now Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafi has been appointed as the jurist member of the Interim Leadership Council. So clear, my dear friends? Are you guys getting it? Are you guys able to get it from the examination point of view? Let's move on to the Zero Discrimination Day 2026, which we observe on 1st March. So the Zero Discrimination Day is observed annually on the 1st March to promote the right of every person to live full and productive life and dignity. The theme for 2026 is People First. So People First is the theme for the year 2026. We celebrate the Zero Discrimination Day. My dear friends, zero के बाद क्या आता है? Zero के बाद आता है 1. So 1 March is the right answer. Clear everyone? So let's move ahead. The DGT has signed Flexi MOU. Are you guys ready to give me the answer? Are you guys ready to give me the right answer to all these questions? So now we are moving on to the another Drishyam round. Please show some energy. Please show some energy in the chat box before let us start with the next Drishyam round. Everybody ready? Okay, let's start. DGFT. DGT signed Flexi MOU with which organization? Bajaj Auto. Bajaj Auto is the right answer. First ever Khelo India Travel Games held in Chhattisgarh. Two demonstration sports were Malakham and Kabaddi. The official mascot is Morveer. Khelo India Travel Games are the part of the Khelo India scheme. Khelo India Game scheme, right? This is the central sector scheme. CCI has approved the additional shareholding acquisition by Central Bank of India in the GCICL and the GCLICL. Now logo of which particular league has been unveiled? That is the Cycling League of India has been unveiled. The world's first franchisee based professional road cycling league. Version 2.0 of the Indian Culture Portal has been launched by the Ministry of Culture. It is having a AI powered chatbot, that is Bharati. And it is having how many Indian languages support? 22 Indian languages support. Airtel has partnered with which organization to enhance the secure messaging in India? Google. Clear. The zero discrimination day is observed on which date? On 1st of March. 1st of March is the right answer. Zero discrimination is observed annually on 1st March to promote the right of every person to live a full and productive life with dignity. And what is the theme? People first. People first is the right answer. So my dear friends, please give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you guys are able to answer all the questions which we have discussed here. Are you guys feeling confident now? Are you guys feeling empowered now after giving all the right answer to all these questions in the chat box? Please give me the answer in the chat box. Are you guys feeling good after giving all the answers in the chat box? See my dear friend, this is really very important from the examination point of view, that you are able to answer the questions in the exam, right? And if you are able to answer the questions here, you will be able to answer the questions in the examination as well. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Let's move on to the next part. West Bengal has signed MOU with the GIZ. GIZ is a German agency and the state mission for clean Ganga to develop the Ichamati and Jalangi river basins. So Ichamati और Jalangi river basins को develop करने के लिए we have signed an MOU. The MOU has been signed by Government of West Bengal with the German agency GIZ and the state mission for clean Ganga. So both rivers are located in the upper Ganga delta in the West Bengal and are transboundary rivers shared with the Bangladesh. See guys, this question can also be asked in the examination, that the Ichamati and Jalangi river basins are having the transboundary rivers shared with which country? Answer will be Bangladesh, right? So such kind of question can be asked, right? Last year we have seen the questions on the rivers, right? So this year can also be asked in the examination. If it has been asked from the current affair, then please ensure that you are answering the question in the examination. Now the next part, Saksham Skill Survey has been launched in Mumbai. So Mumbai Suburban District has launched the Saksham Skill Survey for the people of 18 to 40 years, improving their employability. The AI-based door-to-door survey will collect information on the educational qualifications, skill interests and training requirements for the employment. Educational qualifications, skill interest and the training requirements for employment. Moving ahead, Safina Hussain has been named as among the Time Women of the Year 2026. So my dear friends, Safina Hussain, the founder of the NGO Educate Girls, has been named among the Time Magazine Women of the Year 2026. In 2025, Educate Girls became the first Indian organization to receive the Raymond Magsaysay Award. Guys, last year we covered this, right? So Raymond Magsaysay Award was being given to Educate Girls, and this year Time Women of the Year Award has been given to the Safina Hussain. Educate Girls basically focuses on providing access to the quality education for the school dropout girls. The organization aims to reach 10 million more girls by 2035 to ensure access to the organized education and empowerment. That's all. Now my dear friends, former Union Minister KP Unnikrishnan has passed away. He first entered Rajya Sabha in 1971 and played a Union Minister role in the large-scale evacuation of Indians during the Gulf War. Now moving on to the book, Mahatma, a Great Communicator, has been written by Dr. Dheeraj Kakadia, Additional Director General of Akashvani. International Women's Day was celebrated on 8th of March. The theme this year is Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls. Right, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls. The day was designated by United Nations in 1977. The observance is linked to the 1917 protests in Russia when women went on strike demanding the bread and peace. Clear everyone? Right, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls. Moving at Shakti Walk. She leads Bharat. So this is basically a women-led walk which has been announced by the Ministry of Women and Child Development on 8th of March as a part of the International Women's Day celebration. It is organized to highlight the central role of the women in shaping a progressive and inclusive Bharat. The National Convention of the Women Thought Leaders. So National Convention of Women Thought Leaders was held in New Delhi by the Bharatiya Vidvat Parishad in association with the Rashtriya Sevika Samiti Sharanya. The theme of the convention was Bharati Nari to Narayani. Bharati Nari to Narayani is the theme for this National Convention of Women Thought Leaders. Moving ahead, the 6th edition of the Lineman Divas was celebrated in New Delhi by the Central Electricity Authority. Now coming to the another important article, my dear friends. The article is India has won the ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2026. ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 defeating New Zealand by 96 runs. The final was held in Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad. The World Cup was overall hosted by India and Sri Lanka. India scored 256 runs, but India bowled out New Zealand on 159 runs in the 19 overs, winning the World Cup by 96 runs. Let me tell you, my dear friends, and one of the RBI Grade B officer phase 1 examination, we have seen that when the question was basically asked on the 1983 World Cup, that what was the score of the West Indian team in the 1983 World Cup, which was won by India, when India defeated West Indies in the finals. So let me tell you, considering that only we have covered this particular article in this manner. Okay. Jasprit Bumrah took 4 wickets and was awarded the player of the match. Sanju Samson was the player of the tournament for scoring 321 runs. I hope this is clear. With this victory, India became the first team to win the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 3 times and the first team to successfully defend the title. For the very first time, we have seen that India became the first team in the entire world to win the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 3 times and the first team to successfully defend the title. India also became the first team to win the Men's T20 World Cup at home. India has now won ICC Men's T20 World Cup 3 times, 2007, 24 and 26. The 2007 World Cup was won under the captaincy of MS Dhoni, 24 under the captaincy of Rohit Sharma, 26 under the captaincy of Surya Kumar Yadav. The Indian men's team has won the ICC Cricket World Cup twice in 1983 and 2011. In 1983 under the captaincy of Kapil Dev ji and 2011 under the captaincy of MS Dhoni ji. Clear everyone? We are done with all these articles. So please tell me, the West Bengal has signed MOU with which organization to develop Ichamati and Jalangi River Basins, that is GIZ. It is the Jalangi River Basin. These are rivers. So these are rivers sharing, having transboundary shared with Bangladesh. Saksham Skill Survey was launched in Mumbai for the youth aged 18 to 40 years. Dash has been named among the Time Women of the Year award, that is Shafina Hussain, the founder of the Educate Girls, which won the Raymond Magsaysay Award in 2025. Mahatma, a Great Communicator book has been written by Dheeraj Kakadia. International Women's Day has been observed on 8th of March with the theme Rights, Justice. What was the remaining part? Please tell me in the chat box. What is the remaining part? Right, justice. So my dear friends, please ensure you are giving me the answer to this in the chat box. So it's the rights, justice, action for all women and girls. Absolutely right. Well done, Kashish, you have given the right answer. United Nations officially recognized the International Women's Day in which year? 1977. Dash leads Bharat. She leads Bharat. So what is the name of that initiative which has been launched? That was She Walks, She Leads Bharat. It is organized, the women-led, titled this on the 8th March to celebrate the International Women's Day celebrations. That is the Shakti Walk. My dear friends, Shakti Walk. National Convention on the Women Thought Leaders was held in New Delhi. Was held under the theme of the convention was Bharati Nari Se Narayani. Which team won the ICC Men's T20 World Cup? That is India. India won the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, defeating New Zealand by 96 runs in the final at Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad. The World Cup hosted by India and Sri Lanka. What was India's score? 256. New Zealand were bowled out on 159 runs. In 19 overs, India winning the World Cup by 96 runs. Now, which player took 4 wickets and was awarded the player of the match? Jasprit Bumrah. The player of the tournament was Sanju Samson. With this victory, India became the first team to win the 3 ICC T20 World Cup events. India also became the first team to win the Men's T20 World Cup at home. India has also won the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 3 times, 7, 24 and 26. And India won the ODI World Cups in the 2 years when 2011 and 1983. And let me tell you, my dear friends, India was the first team to win the ODI World Cup at home in year 2011. Are you guys able to understand it? So my dear friends, now we are done with all these articles. So we are done with the 80 articles now from this particular part. So shall we wrap up the session now and we can resume the remaining part of the session tomorrow? Clear everyone? So tomorrow we can first cover these first week of March, and we can also resume the 12th to 17th of March. Right, my dear friends? So let's now resume the session tomorrow, okay? It's a lot for all of you for the today, because today we were already having so many phase 1 and 2 articles, and the phase 1 articles also we have covered around 40 articles. So that was all from the today's session. I hope that you guys have really a great learning experience in the today's session. Now there might be the students who will be asking, sir, from where exactly we can revise the PDF and we can attempt the MCQs. So let me tell you, my dear friends, that what you can do, that please type chapters.in. Please type chapters.in, go to the courses. In the all categories, try to go to the package. Then you can see the current affairs package. Then when you will scroll down, my dear friends, when you will be the part of the current affair package, you will see that there is a current affairs chapter of the March 2026. When you will go down, here we have already provided you the document of 1st to 11th of March. Right? You can directly, basically, you can directly read the document from here. Okay, my dear friends, I hope that you guys are clear. And now if there are people who don't want to be the part of the package because they are already the part of the other organizations or the other institutes material, we are having a solution for all of you. What is that? We have launched a course of the current affair test series course, and my dear friends, there you will be getting all the MCQs, right, for all the months. And let me tell you, my dear friends, that now we have added a new plan of the 3-month plan, because RBI Grade B officer examination is very early, right? So there are people who are like, sir, why do we purchase the 6-month or the 12-month plan? So if you want the short-term learning experience, that definitely you can go with the 3-month plan for the test series, right? Let me tell you, this is only for this particular time for the RBI Grade B officer examination. Clear, my dear friends? I hope that this is clear to everyone. So that's all from the today's session. Upasana is saying that this time it is not overwhelming. Okay, that's really good, Upasana, that you are able to cover all the things on time and you are able to retain the information from examination point of view. And I hope that that is also the case with all the other people as well. Now, my dear friends, thank you for joining us. I will be meeting you now tomorrow at 8 a.m. with a live daily 8 a.m. class. Please ensure that you are attending that session. Now we will be meeting tomorrow. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Wish you all happy learning.